Hello, welcome. We're so glad to be sharing in this vigil, which we hope will be a source of faithful resilience at a time when hopelessness and division feel overwhelming for many of us. I'm the Reverend Rachel Pryor, an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ and the board chair of Kansas Interfaith Action. I live in a small town in central Kansas called Lindsborg with my partner and our 3 children. Interfaith community isn't built overnight. It takes long-term commitment of praying, learning, and taking action in solidarity. One important theme from several of our spiritual traditions is captured in the word abide. Abiding is more than just waiting. It's more than a brief encounter. To abide means to trust, to depend on, to follow, even to love. The world we live in today is fast-paced. Even in our spiritual practices, it can be difficult to make time to abide fully in the presence of whoever or whatever we hold sacred. We're already here together, which is a good first step, but I'd like to introduce 2 more tools to help us abide in this moment together. First, we will light some candles and abide in the warmth and brightness of the flame's steady yet moving presence. And second, we'll do some drawing. Now, absolutely no skills are required. Even if you just have a crumpled up piece of paper and a pencil, that will certainly do. Or if you'd like to gather a large piece of paper or some nice coloring supplies, go right ahead. I've asked my kids to help us out with this. They often find it helpful to abide in their school subjects when they have a space to doodle as they listen. Survivors of poverty, in a spirit of compassion, we abide with you. What does compassion look like to you? Hear this reading from Deuteronomy chapter 24.
Don't take advantage of the poor or needy workers, whether they are fellow citizens or strangers who live in your land or your cities. Pay them their wages the same day before the sun sets, because they are poor and their very life depends upon that pay.
When there is great wealth among the people, poverty is a sign of imbalance. It's the temptation for those with the most to take advantage of those with the least because we can. The wealthy have the power to choose their own comfort over another's survival. But this is an insatiable appetite, an evil we must resist. In this transaction, both the poor and the rich are robbed of their humanity. Compassion means helping others more than placing blame.
Compassion means people matter more than money.
It means dignity isn't something a person has to earn.
What does compassion look like to you? Survivors of violence, in a spirit of peace, we abide with you. What does peace look like to you? This is a reading from the Gospel according to John, chapter 8.
Some legal experts and religious leaders brought a woman caught in adultery. Placing her in the center of the group, they said to Jesus, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of committing adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone a woman like this. What do you say?" Jesus replied, "Whoever hasn't sinned should throw the first stone."
Violence doesn't only happen when people fight wars or commit genocide. Violence happens every time a person decides the law is on their side. Every time we inflict harm or punishment for the sake of demonstrating our own righteousness. Violence is the desire to control or eliminate anyone who doesn't look like us, act like us, obey us, worship us. Violence is idolatry in action. Peace is when we have the humility to see even our own worst enemy as a human being.
Peace is when we know that hurting others hurts us too.
Peace is when being kind is more important than being right.
What does peace look like to you? Survivors of racism, in a spirit of unity, we abide with you. What does unity look like to you? This is a reading from the Hadiths of Imam al-Bukhari, book 46, chapter 4.
Allah's messenger said, "Help your brother, whether he is an oppressor or an oppressed one." People asked, "O Allah's messenger, it is right to help him if he is oppressed, but how should we help him if he is an oppressor?" The Prophet said, "By preventing him from oppressing others."
One of the greatest sources of conflict and misunderstanding in our communities and our country is the attitude that sees racism as a problem only for those who are cast as its victims. Until we all claim the racist harms of our past and the racial iniquities of our present, our future will only hold more division and more inequity. Unity means telling the truth and setting things right, no matter how long it's been.
Unity means learning how to do a better job of loving our neighbor.
Unity means being together, but still being who we are, each in our own unique way.
What does unity look like to you? Survivors of climate disruption, in a spirit of courage, we abide with you. What does courage look like to you? This is a reading from Oren Lyons, faith keeper of the Onondaga Nation, on the great law of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy.
The peacemaker taught us about the 7 generations. He said, "When you sit in council for the welfare of people, you must not think of yourself or your family, not even your generation. He said, "Make your decisions on behalf of the 7 generations coming, so that they may enjoy what you have today."
Harm to creation is rooted in an attitude centered on the self. It only matters what I take or what I want today, right now. Putting ourselves first may be an instinct of survival, but in unity, peace, and compassion, we can do more than just survive. We can find the courage to recenter our focus on the community and on the future. We can build relationships of trust and enable equitable stewardship and resources for all, instead of exhausting supplies or hoarding for just a few. Courage is resisting the culture of me first, more, now.
Courage is standing up for what is true, no matter what it costs.
Courage is taking risks and making sacrifices for the people we will never know.
What does courage look like to you? We can't abide in this moment forever, but we can take courage, unity, peace, and compassion with us wherever we go. In the hours and days to come, may you carry these images with you, even as you return to a busy and sometimes downhearted world. Some will depart this space, newcomers will join, but our vigil will survive all these hours, carrying on to spread the light, connecting us all as we abide in a holy presence and with one another. May it be so.